Really nice thing about the way that the controls are laid out is that when you're holding it, if you're a righty. If you're a lefty, you're pretty much screwed no matter what. So if you're a righty, everything you need is pretty much where you'd expect it to be. Shutter button is in a really nice spot. Power is right where your forefinger is, and there's a nice plastic but solid feeling wheel where your forefinger is and one where your thumb is. So you can be changing aperture and shutter speed in manual mode while you're shooting, while you're either looking in the viewfinder or at the LCD screen on the back. It's a bunch of programmable buttons, which is really nice, and the function button on this camera is fantastic because it lays out most of the things that you may need. ISO, white balance, your focusing mode, all sorts of good details are there.
Now in terms of form factor, it's really nice for me. It's a nice size. I'm coming from shooting APS-C size SLRs. I have a D7000. It's about 1.5 times the size of this. So for me, this is nice and lightweight. The question I ask myself is, does it fill the niche that I'm looking for? Because part of my reason for looking for a new camera is getting a camera where I can shoot with and feel like I'll take it out of the house when I'm just going to a party or something like that. Now, if I want something really tiny, I have the RX100, and that camera's great. But if I want to feel like I have my true firepower with me in my camera and my lenses, this probably isn't that. If we look at this 55mm lens, for instance, it's not tiny. I mean, it's light enough, it's a good size. If I was traveling on vacation in a foreign city, would I mind carrying this kit around? No, not at all. But am I gonna throw it with me every time I go out of the house? No, probably not. So one of the very few things that bugs me about this camera is the auto ISO. Now, I know a lot of cameras don't have the feature I'm gonna talk about, so take it with a grain of salt. But I'm coming from Nikon, and when I use auto ISO on a Nikon, I can set a shutter speed floor for my ISO. Now this camera gives me an ISO floor and ceiling, so I could say go from 100 to 6400. But I can't say don't go below, say, a 200th of a second if, say, I'm shooting street photos and I want my subject to be frozen. So it's a bit of an issue for me because I can take the camera into manual mode at that point and set it to maybe 200 and 1.8, but I don't necessarily want to lock it at 200. I want it to be able to float up to 1600 or, whatever it needs to keep my aperture where I want it. So, not the best.
But none of that actually matters because the only thing that matters is that this camera is body only right now, which is new, $1,700, which is a bargain compared to the 5D, which body only is about $3,400. So if you don't have a system already, if you're not already invested in Nikon, or if you don't have a Micro Four Thirds system or something, you really can't do much better than this, especially if you're looking for full frame.
Yeah, and if you're looking for full frame, Jay talked about the price of the body. But another thing to keep in mind is the cost of the lenses. So that's something you definitely have to factor in. Because if you're coming from Micro Four Thirds or APS-C, it's gonna be a little bit of sticker shock. For instance, today we have our hands on a 55 1.8. That's about $1,000. And the 35 2.8 we have our hands on today is, I think, about $700 or $800.
It's a relatively new system. And Sony is pretty aggressively building lenses for the system. There are going to be a lot more choices relatively soon. So again, if this is the first system that you're buying, you could really do a lot worse than to invest in this system.
Yeah, and I think at this point they have most of the range covered. More importantly, Jay, is what the hell is that?
This is key lime pie on a stick, and this is the raspberry version.
Raspberry? All right, I think we're gonna break from this camera discussion and get us and everyone here eating some key lime pie.
Just me, baby.
Shall we?
So we got Fairway and the Verrazano Bridge, close, and the New York Harbor out here. We're approaching golden hour, so I got my best light on right now.
All right, so it's the end of the day. It's very cold.
Yeah, it's getting chilly out here.
Chilly. It's beautiful out here.
Yeah, we've had a great day walking around Red Hook, seeing some of the restaurants, bars, doing a nice bourbon tasting.
And I think we had a good time with the camera. I think overall it's a really nice camera. It takes great pictures. It takes great video. It's really nice in the hand. It's got a good weight to it. And for $1,700, it's a nice price.
For a full frame camera.
Right, exactly.
First of all, I'll say I really enjoy shooting with this camera, and I love the image quality that I get out of it. So I guess it brings me to the same question, would I buy it? And I guess my answer is I'm not sure. I think it very well could be a yes, because I'm looking more for a stills camera than a video camera. I wanted to shoot great video, sure, but I really like it. I really like the image quality, and I like that I can actually carry around a full frame camera. One thing I will say is I'm coming from an APS-C system. So would I go micro four thirds? Probably not. It feels like kind of a, while I love the size and weight and lens selection, it kind of feels like a step backward for me just because of the shallow depth of field and the low light. So would I do it? I don't think so, but we'll see. I'd love to play around with some micro four thirds cameras because honestly, I haven't much. One thing that's keeping me away from this camera is the lens selection and price. Well, more price than selection. If there were some more third-party lenses, certainly that price would come down, but it gets pricey. So it's something you really need to calculate the cost of the system and not just the body.
Yeah,
you know?
I think if you're somebody who's looking to get into a brand new system, who hasn't had a camera system before, and who's looking to spend overall probably around $3,000.
Easy. I mean, unless you're fine with one lens.
Yeah,
you know?
But otherwise this would be a good system to get into, because I think that Sony's putting a lot of time and money into it to really build the system, and I think they should, because it's excellent. Full frame and that size body is very impressive.
Yeah.
And I think that if you were somebody who was thinking about maybe getting a 5D, unless you already are invested in that Canon lens set,
or
there may not be a reason to buy a camera that physically large anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, of course, full caveats of you're a professional wedding photographer or something like that, there are exceptions. But if you're, like us, a hobbyist, going around and shooting photos for fun of your family, maybe even doing an occasional paid event, it's a great system.
It is a great system. It's a great sensor, great camera.
Hope you enjoyed our first episode.